let's get into. This is kind of the prediction round, but I just wanted to kind of go through some things here. There's a lot of conspiracies around Iceman. I don't know if you guys have been seeing. There's a double album conspiracy. There's the Frank Ocean Endless. How Frank Ocean finessed his label because Iceman is the last scheduled to be the last album on Drake's hit label UMG, which I don't know if you guys have heard, but they're not on good terms right now.
Spoiler alert, they're not happy with each other.
They're not happy with each other. But that being said, are there any of those that you buy stock into, whether it be a double album, whether it be in the Frank Ocean move where he's going to drop an album and then he's going to drop another to kind of, this is him on his own label, or maybe he signed to Gamma. I've heard a lot of talk about Gamma, and there's a lot of connections there. And then there's also the will he go independent route? I don't think that's happening, but there's just a lot of
he very well can,
bro.
He more than anybody can.
I'm thinking like movie based because we ain't got on top. If he go independent, it's like being like a free agent, like in the in the NBA with the shoe game and shit. But everybody want to get Drake.
But
like how Snoop was when he left Death Row type shit.
But just to play the other side here, there is literally a history of every OVO artist basically getting blackballed by Drake and not being allowed to drop. I Love McConan, fucking
Jesus Christ.
like along the it's
he's like, why are you bringing this up now? It's Iceman
history.
time.
Do the research. I'm just saying, it's like these are there's a history of that. So like that's the only other side of it is like Drake has very clearly proven as a label exec that's not exactly his strong suit either. So
well, I mean, you could argue that his strong suit is looking out for his own self-interest, and maybe that's all it is. So like, yeah, I wouldn't say that makes Drake I'd say that Drake is by I guess just objectively speaking here, like a bad label exec, but it's more so I align those with like selfish interests, like putting himself over them. Which,
right, but that means you don't need to get into the label that game. Because
yeah, but I mean, if he just starts his own label,
for himself, if he does that, that's cool. But I'm saying, just seeing how OVO's operated.
No, you should not sign to Drake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
PSA, you should not sign to Drake. But I will say that I think that Drake is. I think Drake likes and understands the power of the machine with him. I think he clearly can be independent and go well. I mean, look, we saw Kanye for all the craziness that Kanye has been. He had a #1 record completely independent in Carnival. Like, even though that album is trash, he had a #1 record. Like, he had a lot of success with that album. And that's somebody that is like extremely hated and controversial. Drake, somebody who, I mean, now he has his hate, but for the most part, if we're being real, he's very well liked and respected. And so there's going to be a situation where, like, I think that he could easily be successful independently. I just think that he understands the power of teaming up with the label, but this time he's going to make sure it's on his terms.
Yeah. But so just again for food for thought, it's like, okay, the two main things you get by signing to a label are you get budget and you get distribution. Those are two things that Drake absolutely does not need, because distribution is basically gone completely independent at this point. Mm-hmm. And Drake, of all people, does not need budget. Definitely fucking not. So it's like, at the same time, what benefits would he gain now from re-signing to another major?
That's for Drake to decide, I think. Like,
well, yeah. Of
well,
course,
no, I didn't mean it like that, but I'm just saying like I don't know. The way I see how much he focuses on the numbers and how much he understands the machine behind him, and how the one time the machine wasn't behind him in the battle. And I don't know if you guys saw the Who Kid stuff, but that was crazy. Shout out to What's the Dirt for that.
But again, that's different because he's under the machine.
Yeah.
In that case, where if he's just not part of the machine, like, it's so easy to drop music now on your own, and as far as distribution goes, he could sign one-off fucking contracts with these people to distribute this one album if he wants to go that route. Yeah. Promotion, he doesn't need a label for that. He doesn't.
sure.
There's not a lot of things that a label. And now, back in the '80s, like Michael Jackson, that was the only option, right? But now there's options, and so I just don't think he needs it anymore necessarily, because if he goes again, nobody can suppress his numbers if he's not signed to one of the majors, you know what I mean, or whatever.
I just think the way he crashed. I want to get you guys. This is my last point on it because I'm sorry. But my last point on it is that like why I bring up 2024 is that we saw how upset he was when the machine was working against him for the first time. And so I think that right there in and of itself in its own way kind of reaffirmed in his mind that he wants to make sure that he has a system behind him. But now this time he's going to make sure that that system is in his control and whatever that looks like. Like he has again, that Gamma stuff is real because he has the partner. He has a rumored partnership with what's his name? I think Larry Jackson, I believe. Yeah, Larry Jackson. He did the Views thing. Speaking of Views, he did the Views thing there. Like there's just a lot of ties there, and that's a way where Drake can probably get his cake and eat it too. And I think that that's what he's looking for. I'm not arguing the point that he can't just do whatever he wants because he absolutely can. That's why I brought up Kanye.
I think all these things are possible. Really, yeah.
I just feel like he's gonna lean. I think he's gonna lean that way. But what did you guys kind of think of all that?
I think he's gonna sign to another, maybe not another label, but I feel like if this album do what's expected of it, that he gonna get the deal that he want, probably and double that, and it's gonna be like an offer he can't refuse. You know what I'm saying? So I could definitely see him signing with another label, and once his album dropping shit, you already know he gonna get a tour popping soon too. So that's about to do numbers.
Right.
So he gonna be making majority of that shit back quick as fuck.
Yeah, and that's pretty much about like my only point is that I feel like
you're not wrong.
All of these things he can do on his own without a major. I mean, that check could, sway him. But yeah, I mean, he's not going to go into he's going to structure his own deal essentially. I mean, even we've seen it with smaller artists, like when Mac Miller signed with Warner Brothers for Good AM, they literally came to him and they're like, whatever you're doing is working. We're hands off. You fucking do you. We're not gonna like whatever you want to put out. You put out like whatever. And that was Mac Miller. That was back in 2015, and a much smaller artist than Drake. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, he could definitely sway it. But again, I also could see him going the route of the independent, because then also 100% of the cut goes to him.
Yeah.
On everything. So I don't know.
I think he's gonna stick with UMG because I think he wants his royalties. I think as ugly as that situation is, I think the one thing he wants is money, and UMG is by far the biggest, pusher in music. And then he also wants his back catalog, because his back catalog is worth trillions of dollars.
I think the lawsuit was a way for him to have that leverage when he goes back in to re-up, because you see all the time, like when people leave majors, like it's cool to say, and he very may well do that, because he definitely has the star power to do that. But you see all the time when people leave the machine, yeah, you got big star power, but that doesn't always translate. Like I'm just just breaking off. Like you got, think about Kyrie, how he was with his shoes. He had the best shoes in the world. Then he goes over to Anta, and the shoes are still fire, but it's not what it was.
Like that,
It's not what it was. And the same thing happened with 50 Cent when he dropped the Curtis album versus
Yeah.
That was his last album. I think that was who was he with?
Aftermath, right?
It was Interscope. That was his last Interscope album.
Aftermath through Interscope. Yeah.
Right. That was his last Interscope album, and then after that, 50 Cent wasn't 50 Cent anymore. Like
but
he dropped albums again. He still had good albums, but
you have to
he wasn't 50 Cent again.
You have to keep in mind that's in 2006, 8, whatever.
Yeah.
Now
I'm just giving examples.
Right, for sure.
When you break away from the machine, it isn't always.
And that's why. But
that's a good point, Chris.
That is a great point. But the pushback being of why 2026 is different is because
I agree.
of all the independent resources that are now available. Like 50 Cent couldn't have independently distributed his music at that time, which now you could fart into a microphone and fucking put it up on Apple Music if you want to. Like, you know what I mean?
Spice.
So it's like, yeah, it's like there's levels to it. I don't know. I'm interested to see what he ends up doing, but I think it could really go either way. I could see him signing with another major, especially because of the check, but also and when you say as far as star power, we've also never seen star power with the likes of Drake. Like, we've never seen anything quite like this in hip hop. So
Shit, man, we see it all the time.
I mean, Kanye was this, but he did a lot of falling himself, you know.